Hi, everyone. Here we are. And we have been chit-chatting a little bit before this, so we got a head start. But I want to welcome you and introduce myself. I'm Tiffany Harnsongkram, divorce coach and creator of the course Thriving Through Divorce, which is an online program. And here I have with me Mignon and Katie. So Mignon, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, so me speaking here from Germany. I'm the founder of Momager School and have my whole business in motherhood, so to say. Let's go, Katie.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie Phillips. I am an Australian girl, but I live in Sussex in England. I founded the School of Self-Love. I wrote a book called The Self-Love Affair, A Woman's Guide to a Daring and Mighty Life. And at the moment, I'm a little bit revved up about supporting single moms to call in their soul mate. It's about preparing you to bring him in.
Yeah, I love that. And Mignon, are you serving essentially single moms, or what is your group that you serve?
I'm there for moms, all of them. But as I am myself a single mom, that's the reason why I'm very near to the single moms. I can understand their problems, but of course I'm open for every mother there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the reason why we scheduled this talk, and it's kind of just an impromptu talk, like a little bit out there, but Katie put this post up that was something about, like you said, what's up with the term single mom? I don't really identify with it. And I was thinking, oh gosh, I really don't identify with it either. It's so, the concept we had growing up of what a single mom was, I think it has departed so much from my current reality too. So we wanted to talk about that. And so that's the topic, a single mom 2.0, which actually it relates to men too, single parents just generally, but what they are in 2020. So Katie, can you start telling us your story about how you became an unmarried mom?
Yeah. And by the way, you're right. I'd forgotten about that post, that the single mom post, because and equally, I don't just work with single moms, just for clarity. I work with single women, but I do tend to gravitate to single moms, and single moms gravitate to me because I was a single mom, and I was a single mom for 8 years before I called in James, who's now my husband, and we were married 2 years ago. So I was in a relationship for a number of years, and we chose to have a child together. And that was a very conscious decision. We were very excited about the decision. We were very excited when he arrived. That experience was actually really beautiful. But we weren't meant for each other forever. I'm not going to go into that story here, but suffice to say that relationship ended. We were never married. And while it was meant to be, and a lot of people at the time said to me, "Oh my God, you're so brave."
Yeah.
You're so brave
I got that a lot too.
Yeah, like you're going out on your own. I was like, bravery never occurred to me. It was just how it needed to be. I became fiercely protective of my son during that time. Equally, I never, from the first day I left that relationship, we agreed to have 50-50 custody of him. So we always did week on, not week on, week off. We're doing that now that he's 13, but up until just a few months ago, we were splitting the week in half, a couple of days with me, him, then alternate weekends. And we did that from the very beginning. And that was always our agreement, that he was to have a great relationship with both parents. So it's interesting. And the reason I'm mentioning that, because his dad's a great dad and he has huge involvement. And so I'm very aware that sometimes I even feel a little bit of, what's the word? Like a little bit of fraud complex. Could that?
Yeah, imposter
syndrome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because yes, I was a single parent for 8 years until meeting my now husband. But I didn't do it on my own all the time. And I'm very aware there's a lot of women that are on their own most of the time with the kids. And I actually feel like I had a lot of help, because 50% of my life I had him and 50% I didn't. And I could plan around that. I could plan my business around that. I could plan my social life around that. So I actually feel quite blessed.
Yeah.
But it was never my intention to be a single parent. It was never my intention to bring a child into the world and break up a family. I lived with a lot of shame around that for a long time. And the word single mom side by side carries for me a lot of heaviness and shame, which that exploration in that post.
Yeah.
But the truth is I was a single woman and I was a mum, but the word single mom side by side just sort of had this victim energy around it, which I have never liked. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I identify with a lot of what you said. What about you, Mignon? How was it for you?
So I have to say that I have been a single mom from the beginning on. There was never a father in this WHO constitution because he didn't want to. So that's the fact. But it was absolutely okay like that, actually. And I realized someday that I don't feel this heaviness at all. So I don't have this heaviness in my head. And I feel like sometimes when I hear the women around me talking about their husbands, it sounds crazy, but I feel like blessed don't having this. Oh shit. It's like,
yeah,
it's, I don't have to fight. I'm living, I have to say, I'm living in the luxury of having this 3-generation house with my mother together. So there was, of course, somebody who could help me out, and I helped her. So we have this 3 women in one house, and it's like luxury. So I never had the situation of feeling stressed. My daughter doesn't know this situations of having fights, you know, when a divorce might come, like fights, or even if they are not loud, they are still in the energy of the house, and children know that. So there was never this kind of energy. And it was like I realized when some women told me, yeah, you cannot understand that because you have it that easy. And I thought, wait, wait, I have it easy. I'm the single mom here. I don't have yeah, but your mother is helping you. My man is never helping me. Oh, that was interesting. Like they thought, people around me thought I am in the luxury of having the good position against them being in a life with a husband. And that showed me that it's not it's of course not the idea to live without a husband, but that what you feel like you send out. If you feel it's easy, and that can be with a man or with your mother or alone, you send that out. And if you feel like you live the life that is good and don't fight with each other, with other women who has the hardest life of them all, it's a type of that you're sending out, and people think that you live in a luxury. That was interesting for me, because I never had a man who was, I'm the only one who's working, I'm the only one who brings the money in, and I'm the one who has to be responsible for everything, you know?
Yeah. Like, so how wild is this? Because the 3 of us have completely different backgrounds, and all of us are feeling lucky or blessed with the title of single mom, which is, you know, like a complete script reversal. So I'll tell you, my background was, you know, I went from very traditional house mom, taking care of the whole house, the kids, everything pretty much solo. And then my ex and I split up. So we were married for 10 years. And like you, Katie, it was a very conscious decision to have kids. I have 2 daughters. They're 10 and 12. And, you know, they grew up in this kind of a family nest. And then when I split up the family, by deciding to leave, I did have so much fear around that, because of the stigma with single motherhood, and because I was the one breaking the family, because the girls had, such a safe environment, so to speak, even though I knew emotionally it wasn't safe. But so then I became I became like Mignon. I had the girls for a couple of years by myself, taking care of them. They were little. I was doing everything from A to Z. Incredibly financially stressful. I mean, very, very difficult, but we had the peace in the house that you had. I had my mother helping me as well as a support system. And it was such a loving, nurturing home that I didn't feel like we were lacking for something. And then myself being out of the marriage, I was like, oh, okay, I can finally breathe. I can, finally live. So for me, it was a huge relief. And then my ex-husband came back into the country. Now we're living in France. He came back into the country and fought for custody, and on a false accusation of me kidnapping the children to my sister's wedding, he got primary custody. And that was a complete flip for me because my identity just got blown up. I was no longer the single stay-at-home mother. I was then the non-custodial parent, which I don't think I've ever met a mother who was a non-custodial parent.
No, me neither.
And that was shocking to me because I thought, oh, surely to be a non-custodial parent, you have to be a criminal or a drug addict or something of the sort. So to have that label on me was just like earth shattering. And so now having to rebuild that image of what a mother is meant to be. And already, I think when we started going back and forth with custody, I started realizing the space that I had to rebuild myself, to actually build a career, to have a weekend off, to exercise, to go see a movie, to get my hair done. I mean, in the years that I was taking care of my daughters when they were little, in 2 years, I think I went out one time and saw one movie. That was it. And now that their father was taking them for so much time, I all of a sudden had so much time for me. And I was thinking, oh gosh, I'm so sorry for the stay-at-home moms who never get to go out with their friends, who never get to go get their hair done, So it was interesting because I was devastated at not having custody of my children, while at the same time holding the opposite emotion of, I have so much privilege because now I can go back to school and get my master's. I can go, have a career. I can go do all these things that I was never afforded before as a stay-at-home mother. So, there are these kinds of privileges or blessings that we don't like to count, I think, because of the idea of, what a single mom is or a single parent is. Like you're kind of supposed to be in suffering and I like what you said, Katie, was, you don't identify with like the victim mentality. And I think for me, it was like the pity was the worst. I hated getting the pity, like you're so brave. I hated that.
No, I always have felt in choice, and I decided it, and I was in choice. And while it was never the vision, it was never the intention to bring a child into the world and then split up a family. I didn't ever intend that, but I stood by my choice. Like I felt like it was the right choice, and actually, because of my decision, I was able to be a way more attentive, conscious, patient, loving, giving parent because I was living my truth, And so I actually feel empowered I've always felt empowered as a single parent because of that. And I felt lucky that I wasn't always doing it on my own, because even though I was only 50% of the time parenting, mind you could argue you're thinking about them and worrying about them and wondering about them 100% of the time, whether they're with you or not, right? But I did have time to myself, and I've always felt really, really grateful of that. But then there's another flip side to that, because the other flip side is I'm only half a parent. Like I never was half a parent. I never intended to be. And my maternal drive and instinct is really fierce. And so I feel a little bit like, and I've not gone on to have more children. I've just turned 46, and James and I decided that it wasn't for us to bring another, because he's already got 2 children as well, and we decided not to have more. So there's a part of me that's like, I could judge myself really easily and be like, I've never been a proper parent because I've never had my son all the time with me. And
but that's the question, huh? Have you never been a proper parent because you need both of them? That's a really good question, because I ask on the other side. That's a question I always get, because they ask, but your child doesn't have a father. They will have a lack. Will they? I mean, of course, a male side is always good. You always need a male side, but it maybe doesn't have to be the father itself. Maybe you find something else, and it would mean that gay families wouldn't be proper parents. We would always say if two men have a child, they couldn't be proper parents. If two women have a child, they couldn't be proper parents. That's wrong. Yeah. And there are so many. I see so many families around myself. I wouldn't change at all.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change with them, even if there's mother and father, and they are often, even if they don't know it completely, a little bit unhappy in their situation, I wouldn't change. Change is the wrong word, right? It's
exchange. Yeah, you wouldn't
exchange.
You wouldn't trade places with them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't exchange my situation either.
Yeah.
But it's funny, what it made me do is it's had me redefine motherhood. It's redefine parenting. It's had me redefine relationships. So any shame I felt, and when I first became a single parent and had like no money, a few items in a bin bag, like literally, it was, I had nothing, and I remember going and living in this shitty, awful flat without heating, and it was winter and it was awful. I remember feeling the shame then. But it really has been over the years, because that's 10 years ago now. It's been an invitation to me constantly to redefine my conditioning, to redefine what I have interpreted society to say a mother is, or a parent is, or a relationship is. And within that, I felt empowered, empowerment comes.
It's hugely powerful. I think all of us have had to redefine what parenthood is. And I think it's a really healthy exercise for the generation that we are anyways. This thinking about our parents' generation and how they were viewing parenthood was very kind of authoritarian and a little bit detached, or a little bit kind of, not listening to the child as much. And also the stigma that was the terrible stigma about single motherhood and anyone who wasn't in a two-parent kind of heterosexual situation. So you ladies, what were you thinking of single moms before, and how do you view it now? Like, how do you feel about that being that now, and other ladies in that situation? Did you
Maybe you go first, because I always was single mother.
Okay. So I think, so the single mom thing was like, she needs help. She needs money. She can't do it alone. Poor thing. This one was big. She can't date because she can't bring men into the house. If she brings men into the house, she's not only being a terrible example, but also being very dangerous. And I have to say, I grew up highly religious, so maybe I'm like on the extreme idea of single mothers, but it was almost like a juxtaposition between poor innocent her, she's been left alone to be a mother, but at the same time, a bit of a slut. And that's what I was thinking I was going to be when I left my marriage. I was thinking I was choosing that label for myself pretty much, which is, absolutely not what I think now, because I have so many amazing, successful, happy single mothers, and not really single, because they're in all kinds of different constellations, just like you, Katie. You've got a partner. You have a husband. I have a partner. Still a single mother, but actually not really, right?
Well, but that's a really interesting point too, because I've lived with James for 4 years now. Well, it'll be 4. It's not quite 4 years yet, actually. It'll be 4 years in March. And while he's so supportive of me as a mum, and he's with my son right now downstairs hanging out. They're great together. He adores him. He treats him like his own son. Because my son isn't his son, I still feel like a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have to do everything myself as I did when as a single parent. I don't have to pay for everything on my own. Like, while, I mean, James and I both contribute equally to our household. That's the way we do it. We both work. While I have his support, I have his emotional support, I have physical support, I have support on every level from him in the relationship. And we have the safety of this like wonderful family unit that we have created together, including his two children. We operate like a family. We do everything in consideration of, we are a family of 5. That's the way we think, it's the way we approach everything. And still, there's an operating system inside me that is still, I am a single parent.
Yeah, because you feel solely responsible for the raising of your child.
I just, look, like, I don't know if there's no right or wrong to it. I don't think. I just think, you know, at the end of the day, I gave birth to him. You know, he is my child. And his father lives in another household, married to someone else with other kids, you know, so it's I don't know, it's something I find hard to put words to, but I do still feel, the feeling is I am still a single parent. And often, you know, when emails come from the school and decisions need to be made about, is he going to be vaccinated, or what subjects is he going to take at school, or, you know, decisions, while I will talk them through with my husband, it's my decision.
Yeah.
I feel like it very, and yes, I'll talk it even through with his actual father. There's something around that dynamic there, which still has me feel like, and it's just the maternal thing perhaps, but I feel like it's my decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's on me. It's on my shoulders. I don't feel like I get to share it. I still feel that after all these years.
I do too.
It doesn't feel victim,
Yeah.
but I do still feel a little bit alone with it.
Yeah, because the buck stops with you. They're your progeny.
Yeah.
They're your responsibility. I have the same with my daughters. As much as Tim helps and supports, you know, I'm the one that gets to say, you know, whatever punishments might happen, or whatever treats might happen, or whatever, you know, birthday party planning might, you know, it's I get to make the call. Yeah. How about you, Mignon? When you decided to become a single mom, did you have any kind of notion of what that would be, or did you have any kind of stereotypical labels that you had put on there?
So I have to say that I was in a family actually where even my grandmother during the Second World War was a single mother, and she raised her child, which is my father, by her own.
Yeah.
While dancing in some clubs and just having enough money for food. So that is a story that I had in my mind also when I was pregnant then. And it was quite interesting that I felt a lot of pity from people, but at the same time, there was this kind of, and I think that's just my personality. I need this freedom. I need freedom to decide. I need freedom to do whatever I want to do. And at the end of the day, it was, I didn't become mother consciously. It was not a complete conscious moment to, oh, now I want to become a mother and so on. It was a situation that I let it be, and it was good and fine, and I loved it. And I couldn't just have the idea afterward, but I never lived another life, so I cannot really be I never lived a life with a man on the other side. It wouldn't be an idea. I can't have the idea that I have to discuss everything with another person because I never had to. If there's a vaccine, how the party has to be, and so on. I had a beautiful moment with another friend of mine. She told me, you know what, when I was just giving birth and my husband stood on the other side, he had the child on his arms and the child was crying. And my brain told me, that's my husband. It's the father of my child. And my heart told me, I will kick him away. I just want to go to my crying child. And this is this kind of a deep connection to this child, and to sometimes I think that's the maternal idea of we want to make sure that our child is safe and having the best life they could. And I think we just want to make sure of this situation. And I guess that's what you, Katie, have too. Also, there is a person that might be very clever and your husband and everything is fine. There's still this maternity, this motherhood that kicks in from the first beginning on, that we think, yeah, we know that another person should talk and has his ideas about our child too, but there's this deep connection, this deep growling, I don't know, like the lioness that's saying that's my child, and I'm mama lion, mama bear, and who wants to protect and have the decisions for the child. I guess that's in us all. And I never had to had discussion. I had a boyfriend, a relationship for 4 years, but he never tried to, actually, honestly. He never tried to jump into discussions with me. He was there, I guess, like Katie, your husband, he's there, he's helping me, but he didn't try to decide when it's about the child what to do. He relied on my decision what to do.
But I think I had put forth that kind of, boundary when I was dating afterwards, and dating my partner now, Tim, who I had immense amounts of trust in because we grew up together. I knew him since we were 15. So it's not that, I was worried about him, but I just wanted to make it very clear to him when we were dating, the girls are mine. I will make decisions about how they are to be educated and how they are to be, because, and it's not, I think at the time it was more of a protecting him, of, not feeling too much responsibility or not feeling too much weight while we were dating. But at the same time, it was I after having had a man who was, authoritarian in desire, at least, I wasn't going to have another one. Definitely not going to have another one. And now I feel that we're equal partners. He helps out a lot with all the decisions. There are some times that he takes leadership. There are some times that I take leadership, but we're pretty equal. But when it comes to the girls, I do have that mama lion, like, that reaction. But let's talk about dating, actually, because you mentioned that you were dating somebody for 4 years and I was dating Tim for, I think, 3 years before he moved in. And now we have an official civil union. So we're partners together. But Katie's actually the expert on this. And so I really wanted to hear from you, Katie, about, dating as a single mom. What is that like? What are the pitfalls, and what are the advantages and techniques? How'd you do it?
Good question.
How'd you do it? I know it's probably a huge question.
I mean, look, just to preface whatever is going to come out of my mouth next, I'm a huge advocate of not having a strategy when it comes to dating. I don't believe in a strategy, and I never had one.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have tips or tools. I can share some personal experiences, but I don't have tips or tools or strategies. I'm very much a big believer in the energetics of attraction. And I believe that, you attract where you're at. And if you desire to be with somebody, you're going to attract wherever you are at on an emotional level, physical, spiritual, and mental level. What you believe about yourself will be reflected back to you and your partner. What you feel about yourself will be reflected back to you. So if you're not happy with the kind of person you're attracting in, usually there's some self-inquiry required there, and some healing and transformation required. So that's my angle on it, and that's my expertise. But like getting into the nitty-gritty of dating when I was single, I definitely dated, and I enjoyed it. I went through all sorts of phases with it, from being like totally single, and not doing any dating, to at the age of 40 attracting 25-year-olds for some reason. Like, so suddenly I became, they called you a cougar, you know.
Oh, it's definitely a thing, and it's not a minority.
At some point, 25-year-olds suddenly found me really attractive, and I found that very fun. A phase of that. I dated a couple, and what was really interesting for me to notice was the quality of man that I was attracting as time went on was definitely changing and improving in terms of their own connection to themselves, their own like emotional mastery, their own mental mastery, and so on. Like, the more I worked on myself and the more that I aligned my own energy, I noticed reflecting back to me a different type of man each time that I was, and I didn't date a lot of men, to be honest, but I did notice there's a handful there that was like, okay, there's a shift here, you know, until I then obviously met James. So I don't know, what was the question?
The question was how you did it. There were a few questions in there, but really how you did it, and like, and what's it like, you know, as a single mother dating, because maybe there are some concerns, like, you know, for me, my number one concern having two girls was, am I going to bring a man around my two girls? Because I had grown up with so many horror stories about, you know, abusive.
Well, actually, that brings to mind, when I say I didn't have any strategy, I did have a strategy around introducing anybody to my son. So I always felt really protective of my own life. Like, just because I was a mom, it didn't mean I didn't get to go out and be a single woman. Just because I was a mom didn't mean I didn't get to go out and be like a sexual woman, or a woman, you know, a woman with desire, a woman that wanted to have fun and play and adventure and freedom. You know, like, I'm a mom and I'm all these other things. So I was always really protective of that. I was always very grateful that my 50-50 parenting piece gave me the space and the freedom to play and travel and do that. But I was always like, nobody got to meet my son. They didn't get, there was no relationship there. So that was my one strategy, until I found, and he only met a couple of guys that I dated. The others I wouldn't even say I dated, you know, if I said, you know, like, when I felt like this person was somebody that, I don't know what the words are, that I trusted, I felt was reliable, and they could spend some time with my son. But even then, my son didn't witness us as overtly in a relationship.
It's my friend. My friend's coming to tea. My friend.
And I did have, there was two guys that I did for, you know, a few months. Each one was a few months, and, you know, he got to stay over. He got to let him for a sleepover. You know, but otherwise, no, it was mostly just me and my son. Holidays was always just me and my son.
Yeah, you had up some pretty strong.
Boundaries.
We were all in when I met James. That was, I just knew that
was the one.
We still waited, like, he waited before I was to meet his children as well. So I think we waited 3 months, and then we introduced to the kids.
Both sets. Did you do like a combined?
It was combined over Skype with to start with, and then it was a, you know, coffee shop. And then it was come over for dinner. It went from there.
I love seeing your Facebook posts about your love story, and, you know, how you kind of found each other, and you look so happy now. I think it's such a beautiful testament, you know, to the process you went through to get there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been a beautiful love story, and we are very lucky to have each other. And, you know, and I have to be really honest, like, we have a beautiful relationship and we still annoy each other. You know, it's still human, you know, it's like this every day. It's not like that every day, you know, it's functional a lot of the time, and practical, and we're working and juggling, and, you know, but we're like best friends, you know, we just sort of partners, we just sort of figure everything out side by side, and it's great. It's really great. I feel really, really lucky, actually. Really lucky.
And how have both of your parenting techniques adjusted to, well, Mignon, you didn't really adjust, but like, how do you feel that it's been different for you, or what have you taken on as like your approach to parenting, or what you're bringing to the table as a parent? What's your secret sauce?
So I guess to jump one point back, and it's fitting the same thing like dating. It's the house and the home has to be a castle for my daughter. Everything have to be solid and safe at home. So that is something, I guess, that's very important for single and for parents together, but also for single. She has to come home and being safe. Yeah, safe is a very important thing, actually, safety. And what can I bring into that's a good question. I guess what I ask also the mothers I'm talking to is if you change rules and you think just a second about what you are doing and your child would do that, would you be proud on your child? So whatever you do, you should be sure that you are proud on it. And if your daughter or son is doing the same, would you be proud on them? It's sometimes easier to just transform it to the other person and to judge it again, your own behavior, because I guess that's normal and human. We are finding excuses for us on and on and on. But on the other side, I know that I will be one day judged by my daughter when she's an adult, and I will have conversations with her, as I did with my mother, talking about parenting from myself, the parenting of my mother that I lived through, and I will do the same with my daughter one day. And there are so many things that I might do different, because different times, of course, different actions, different situations. But I guess as long as I hear the laughter in my house, as long as I feel love and connection, that's the red line, honestly. And every family is different. Every child is different. That's something I really believe in. They come on this world, and with their first scream, they have a character. And you can, of course, you can break a character of a child, but that shouldn't be the idea. So for me, it's always, I feel like the gardener. I have a beautiful garden, and this little blossom should be able to grow. And where she's growing, and as what she's growing, if she's going to be an apple tree or something else, or just a flower or a rose or whatever, that's her decision. The only thing I have to do is making the soil to let her grow. And that might be completely different of what I had in my mind, of what I was doing, or whatever I think is right or wrong. My work is let her grow. And that might be hard sometimes, because maybe it's challenging. Maybe she has different ideas, different visions, but it's that's the work I have to do. And they know exactly what they want. They come to this world and they know exactly what they want. And
Isn't
it's
it
our,
amazing?
it's beautiful.
Yeah. They're so strong already, and they're little people.
Yes.
Like, I'm so glad you said the bit about, modeling what you would want your own children to live, because that's what I tell people when they're questioning whether or not to stay in a relationship, and questioning their choice to divorce. I say, I left my marriage for my children, because I wanted to be the role model that they needed me to be. I didn't want to be this small, wispy shell of myself, or this dying shell of myself that I was becoming in the marriage. And because the relationship dynamic was off, as you said, is not a peaceful house. But I think, if my daughters were in my situation, would I have wanted them to stay in that relationship, or would I have wanted them to submit themselves to whatever conditions those were? And when you think about it that way, it's like really clear, right? No, you want the best for your children. You want them to blossom, grow, thrive, as you said, flourish in their garden. You don't want them to, close themselves in a tiny shed and kind of deprive themselves from sunlight. So yeah, I think the concept of divorcing for your children is a very foreign one to our society, but to me, it's very poignant. It was the top reason why I divorced was for my children.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my child was the reason for lots of stuff in my life. Like it was my motivating factor. It was very much growth and transformation, living more consciously. I mean, really having him, something came alive in me. Wow, it's not all about me anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a patient mum. I wanted to be an unconditionally loving mum. I wanted to, like Mignon was just saying, just creating that. I love how you called it you called it a castle? Was it a fortress? No, castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At home. Yeah.
At home. Yes. I mean, that was just my priority. It's my priority. Yeah.
What are you proudest of as a mother? I'm not being very fair because I'm asking you guys kind of big questions.
No, it's a beautiful question. What am I proudest of? Well, I really do share Mignon's belief that I think, and I'm trying to remember the quote and where it came from, but it's something like, our children are not our children.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't think where it's from right this second. It might come to me, but I just believe he's his own spiritual being, and I feel he chose me and he chose his dad. And I'm so proud of staying true to that belief through everything, through all the ups and downs of my relationship with his dad. Because even when I've totally disagreed with his dad, when I've thought some of his decisions have been awful, or the way he's shown up as a parent has been awful, I've had to recognize, well, that's my own opinion, it's my own perspective, it's my judgment, it's based on all sorts of different stuff, mostly ego. I'm constantly being called to drop my ego and move into a place of love, and from that and it's not easy human being, right? Like this is a daily work, but to step into it from a place of love and remember, my son chose me, my son chose his dad, and whatever experience his dad's giving him in the world, whatever experience I'm giving him in the world, for whatever reason, they were it was the challenge and support that he needs in this lifetime to become who he's meant to become. And for his spirit to evolve in the way it's meant to evolve, and for him to become who he's to be. And so I'm proud to have lived best I can. I don't always get it right, but best I can to remember that and let him be who he's meant to be. Just as Mignon was saying about her daughter.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%. That's absolutely how I feel with my daughters. Like I'm the vessel they chose to come through for whatever kind of experience they were trying to have to. Yeah.
I also think I wouldn't have done the big jumps in my life if it wasn't for my child.
Yes.
Actually, it's like a blessing that came from God to make me move in the right direction. And it's already also this question in energy work when you ask people about their if they want to change their path to get the next step, they might say, no, I'm afraid I'm afraid of the next step. And if you ask them the question of, but that means you accept that your child is going through the same, maybe, to bring the next step. And that's always the moment where the people say, okay, I'm doing it. And I guess that's the blessing of being a parent, because if you don't do it for yourself, you should do it for yourself, of course. We all know that, but it's so much easier to do the big step for your child. It's like the big energy in our life.
Yeah. Wow, I never thought about it that way. I'm really glad you said that, but that's so true. Jeez. And like now thinking about career, I have to say that for me, the proudest thing about being a mom is that my girls can come to me with stuff. So when they're having heavy stuff happening at school, when they're having heavy stuff happening at their dad's house, they come and dump to me, which I find an honor because I am their safe space and I'm the place where they go to make sense of life. That's such a huge honor, even though that's really tough work. It's hard conversations, but it's so beautiful that we get to share those moments together. And then they say, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. And I was just like, you know, when they say that, like, oh, I'm so proud of you for doing this with it, it's career related. Yeah. I'm just like that. Oh, because, you know, I know that wouldn't have happened if I had stayed married. They wouldn't have been seeing my daring. They wouldn't have been seeing my courage in being an entrepreneur, in trying new things, in, you know, being outspoken like this, you know, like exposing myself to the world. But and that makes me so proud, and, you know, is also fueling the work that I'm doing now. So how's career been for you ladies, and what's fueling you in your career as well right now?
Yeah, my son said to me today that he's proud of me as well. Celebrating something in my business, and he's like, "I'm proud of you, Mom." I was like, "Darling, that's great." Yeah. What was the question, Tiff?
What's fueling? What's fueling you right now in your career?
I can jump in there straight away. I am on rocket fuel right now.
Yeah.
I feel, because I'm like mid-launch for my Meet Your Soulmate 5-day challenge, which starts on the 19th of October. And I haven't formally launched something in my business for quite a long time. I joke and say I've been winging it. It's not really true. I do run my business very intuitively, but this is the first time in a long time that I've really applied a proper masculine structure.
Yeah.
But what I've discovered in doing it is with the masculine structure, such creativity and inspiration has been coming through within that safe space. And I've just really reconnected with my passion for working with single women. Because, you know, I work with lots of different types of women as a transformational coach and as a therapeutic coach. And through the School of Self-Love, over the last 10 years, I've worked with lots of different types of women in lots of different ways, with self-love being foundational to the work.
Absolutely.
But there's something, I don't know, I think it's probably, I mean, I used to be, even when I was single, I used to coach women to help them find their soulmate. And there's some beautiful success stories. But I would always say, again, it's this fraud complex, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Even then, I would say to my clients, I'd say, you know, happy to do this work with you, and yay that you're getting success, but I'm still single. You know, at the time, I actually found that quite professionally humiliating. And I suppose I've reached a point in my career and with my coaching expertise to be able to bring my experience to a point and then align it with, oh, I've actually done that too now. Yeah. Like I'm sort of proof that what I teach works. There was an element of, well, how can I say it works when I haven't done it myself yet? So I guess now that I have, and because relationships has always been my biggest pain point, it's also been my biggest growth. And then going back to what we were saying a minute ago, it was because of my son that I had to step up as a woman, and I had to become more empowered, and I had a shit ton of healing work to do. And he was a huge motivating factor for me to do that work. And it's all kind of come together. So with relationships being my pain point, my biggest growth piece, to now be coaching women to call in their soulmate through energetic work, through transformational coaching and healing and self, like energetic alignment. So I just can't quite believe I get to do it. Like, I just think that's amazing. That's just such.
It sounds like so much fun.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And it works. And it's not a strategy. It's just about a woman aligning with her own energy, aligning with her own truth, moving forward with what feels right and good for her. It's not me telling her what she should do. It's me helping her to get to know her and remember her, and then become the vibrational match for what she desires to call in, and help remember her worthiness of that. And
men or anything else that she wants to call in.
And anything else.
Or man, sorry. I didn't say man.
Well,
probably.
Yeah.
Or woman.
It depends what you want, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm getting that a lot at the minute. I'm getting quite a few people saying, Katie, you know, it's not really fair that or maybe it's not right, or I hope you don't mind me saying, but, not everybody wants to call in a man. Maybe you should be speaking to more people, to have it be a bigger conversation. And of course I get that. I actually work with men calling in women. I've worked with gay women, but it's just not my expertise, and it's not my point of reference and experience. And I believe in a business, it's important to niche. And so I've moved it right down to a woman calling in one man.
Yeah.
Not, it's as basic as that. That was my experience, what I'm doing. And of course you can use the work to call in whatever you want. It's not a gender thing. But if I'm in my marketing, I try to speak to everybody, my marketing will get confusing.
Oh, there's a lot of women looking for one man, so I think you're okay.
Well, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And if you're not, that's okay too. But I'm just not your coach.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
You're starting that October 19th. So I'm going to get your website and put it in the description so that if people want to join you for that program, you said it's 5 days.
It's a 5-day challenge. So it's
5-day challenge.
Free.
Okay.
It's completely free, and it's all the foundation. It's actually, I do give a lot of value in my free stuff.
Wow.
So it's going to be really good.
Wow.
Really.
That's amazing. People should, jump on that one.
Yeah. Yes.
And Mignon, what's fueling you right now? What are you excited about in your career?
I'm just I work as the coach for mothers, so I'm not the one who has anything to do with finding the man. So that's Katie, but I think the first step for being in a relationship later is to be happy with yourself and to first put all your energy into your self-love, into your own identity of being full and complete by yourself. Having somebody in the next step to maybe have fun with, have a relationship with, it's all nice, but you have to be first full and complete by yourself. You're not half, you're full. And that's very important for me and for single moms out there. And I guess that's the thing I want to go through with the single moms and mothers. So my niche is single mom, obviously, but mothers, I guess that's something for all mothers. And I'm working as a coach. You can book me in a consultation, and I have also an online coaching, but that's in German. So for English speaking people, I'm bookable in this consultation, but the coach, this online coaching is in German. Yeah, that's like 12 weeks for going through this whole process of different things like dating and motherhood and all that stuff that comes inside our heads. Aging, that's something important too. Aging as a woman, and how we have so many things in our head, prejudices and ideas and stories we constantly tell each other. That has to be removed or exchanged with other ideas, and just have a look on everything, all the stories we tell ourselves in our head. That's very important. I guess that's a big deal too. And all the stuff of being a single mother without a man, how is our child going to live through a life without a man on the side? And yeah, there's so many things I can fill 12 weeks with.
Well, if I may say, like, your special sauce, I think if I were to put my finger on it, is that you make parenthood look so easy. And you make,
that's good.
Like, building a loving, nurturing environment for your child, you make it look so easy. And I think for so many women, especially single women, it feels so hard.
The heaviness, that's the point. When you stop laughing, you should be, and that's the question I always ask them is it fun to be with you?
Yeah.
Is it
Ouch.
Yeah, is it actually fun to be with you? Because you're sad, everything is so hard, but is it fun to be with you actually? That's the question. And that's where everything started.
I'll ask Tim. Tim, can you write in the comments, please, if I'm any fun to be with?
Yeah, but that's the main question, and I guess that's where we all end up at one time, and that's where I have been too. And this is why I started the whole Momager School, because it was not fun to be with me. Absolutely not.
You kind of do have to.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I think that to ask, because it's so easy to put the lens onto the person that you're with, blame, you know, you're the reason why I'm not feeling great or whatever. But it's like, well, let's just reflect this back, because that's quite a, you know, I was just thinking about it then. Am I fun to be with at the moment? I don't know that I have been very fun to be with the last couple of days, to be honest. My hormones are kicking in a bit right now, but fun to be with? Ooh, with myself I've been. Have I been fun for James? Not really. I think I've been a bit difficult, actually. And I love that question. I think that's such a great question. Yeah.
It's all those tasks and responsibilities and, you know, all that robotic to-do list, plus all the adulting that we have to do, right? Like I have to actually, you know, consciously, mentally schedule, like tonight, we're going to do something a little bit crazy and fun. And whatever it is, I don't know what it's going to be, but we just have to do something because we're just too monotonous,
serious.
too turned off, too, you know, checked out.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm totally taking that away from this call. Thank you. That's really good. Really good.
Yeah. I love having ideas too from other moms about like fun stuff that they did, or, you know, things that they were teaching their kids and in special ways they did. I remember you telling me some story that you had told your daughter, and it was just so beautiful in the way that you did that. Like, it's good to have that regularly recalled to us in our consciousness about ways that we can engage our children in more beautiful ways, you know, more creative ways. So, yeah. And so we're going to wrap it up. And I've really loved this chat because it's something that I've never heard before. And I love that you ladies, you know, you answered it so authentically and beautifully. I think it's going to be an interesting beginning of a conversation that will start to take place now that we reinvent families and reinvent parenthood, figure out how it is that we want to build our lives and our children's lives as well. So I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I've never had a conversation about single parenting.
Yeah.
And so your questions to me this evening have really started to get me thinking, actually. I think it's an important conversation. And definitely it's a lovely way of bringing a more empowering energy to the language of single parent. It's needed. Yeah. It's really needed.
Yeah, it took me a while to get to the point of no shame or guilt around it. But once you let go of that, it can be such an incredible adventure. You know, parenting in any format is such an incredible adventure. You know, we have to take the time to enjoy it and count our blessings as well, because we really are, the three of us, we are blessed. So,
and that's the real deal. I think so too, because we are three different people and three different situations, and everybody is happy in it. And it's just that, just how we look at it, how we focus, and on what we focus or focusing. I guess that's the deal. And that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. So I will make the video available to anyone who wants to watch the replay. And then you ladies can send me any information on your programs that you want to put there so people can join with you and get some inspiration and get some self-investigation going on. And we'll put it in the comments. So have a good night. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.